So good morning, Geneviève. We already prepared the team, so they know right now that they will be receiving a room host instruction document today. And over the weekend, we will be sharing with them a one-pager tip of what to do the day of. I'd like to introduce you, Geneviève. Geneviève is our producer manager at Showcare. She has been doing production for events for quite a while and also for TV shows, so she knows how to manage her nerves way better than I can. So she will be an excellent point of contact for you guys. And at this moment, I'll let you introduce yourself, Geneviève, and take from here. Check in from here.
Hi. Okay, so actually today what is the point of the meeting is to go through the Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting. So what you're gonna have access and how everything is going to be. So for the purpose, I will screen sharing. So give me one sec, because I'll show you. I'll show you for the Zoom. Okay, so.
And Geneviève, just before we start, do you want people to ask their question as they go, or you would prefer that they ask at the end of the first?
Yeah, they can ask as they go. It's okay. It's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, okay. Do you see my screen? Is everyone seeing my screen? Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. Okay. So first of all, well, through the weekend, you're gonna receive a Zoom link. So with the Zoom link, you're gonna have one page or memory jogger. So it's gonna be like the tips to go through the just to prepare yourself and just that what you have to ask for a question for like the speakers, because in all these Zoom meeting and Zoom webinars, sometimes you have like 5 Zoom session at the same time. So that it can be hard for me to go through all the 5 meetings at the same time. So mostly for the speaker fact check, that's gonna be you to ask them if the sound is okay and everything, and I will be after that to make sure I will be there after that to make sure that everything is good. So the main question for the tech check is gonna be with you for the speakers. So first of all, we're gonna start with the Zoom webinar. So I have here like a test, so we're gonna start it. So here we go. Okay.
So this is essentially the interface that they will be seeing the day of as the perfect.
So this is the for the Zoom webinar. So the Zoom webinar and the Zoom meeting has 2 different things. In the Zoom meeting, we're gonna see it after. You're gonna have a waiting room, so the people will see that they are in a waiting room. But for the Zoom webinar, it's not supported. So we're gonna have the practice mode before. So when you have the practice mode is the time that you talk with the speakers and see with them is everything is okay. So if the sound is okay, if the light is okay, if the visual quality is okay, if they're having a virtual background, if the virtual background is good, because sometimes when the light is not really okay, then you can have some portion of the head that you don't have hair. So you make sure that everything is good, that the camera is at the height of the eyes, so you don't lose eye contact when you go through the meeting. So this is like some tips that you're gonna have to ask them, and this is what you're gonna have in the one-pager memory jogger. So in the Zoom webinar, so when the
sorry, just close your camera there, because we're seeing you both on Teams, and
sorry.
All right, sorry. And the other thing I want to mention there is if you are the host, the room host for the plenary or the keynote session, you don't have to do the tech check. Geneviève is going to be doing the tech check for these. You're going to be responsible, though, as a co-host, obviously, to share videos, share PowerPoint if it's not done by the panelists, but really the tech check will be handled by Geneviève. Only the ones that are breakout sessions and group networking sessions will be handled by you guys.
Yeah.
So far, so good?
Is that okay for everyone? Yep. Okay. So, okay, for the Zoom webinar. So when all these speakers check is done, then you can start the broadcast. If I don't have the time to do it, then that's going to be you, because like I said, they can have like 5 sessions at a time, so that can be you to start the broadcast. Just so you know, what I like to do when I on the Zoom webinar or Zoom meeting is to click on participant, so I can see the participant here, and in the panelists you can actually have option, but well, because I don't have a panelist here, we cannot see it, but I can share you a link to see the option. But when you have a panelist, you can have option here to put them on hold, put them as a co-host if needed, or you can put a panelist as an attendees, or you can as well promote an attendees to a panelist. And when you have the participant section here, you have like all the options. So basically, I will be the one to go through that. So if something happened, then we're gonna have like a communication chat. So if something happened, then you can ask me. But basically, that I will be the one to go through that. So for now you don't need to have this in mind. So in the option here, make sure you record the session too when you start the broadcast.
It will be for
Geneviève, can I back you up?
Yeah.
Because Emily, when we talked on Wednesday, you said that you all would be recording. Can you
They
confirm
will
that,
be.
please?
They
Okay,
will be
thank you.
all preset for recording. The only thing we want to ask you is, just in case, make sure that you see the little red dot that is recording. So it's just a check.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to make sure. So do you have any more questions, or it's okay? Everything is good? Yeah? Cool. Okay, so we can go, because in some session you have the poll. So the poll will be done in advance, but you can, as a co-host, have access to it. So for example, if you have more than one poll, when you go on the poll here, you have this here, and you can change the poll. So if one is done, then you click on the other one and you can launch the poll, so the attendees can vote if they want.
Megan, can we share in advance with the room host the various polls that they would have for their session, so they know exactly how many they will have and what the questions will be in advance?
I've been trying to collect those from the speakers, so if I do get them from the speakers in advance, I can share them.
Okay.
But not all the speakers have had time to send them to me, unfortunately, so I don't know that we're going to get them all.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the polls? I'm one of those. I will send you our 2 polls, Megan, before 5 o'clock today, UK time. So you want the information in advance. You guys are going to create the polls. You're not going to leave it to us hosts to do. And will they just be sitting in there? How do we find them if they're already created? You click on polls and they'll magically just appear.
Exactly. The same way it is right now. So now we've created them in advance. Geneviève, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's good. So yeah, we create the poll in advance. So when you click on polling, then you will see the poll that you need in the meeting. So yes, you will have to launch poll, and that's it. So the poll will be already done in advance.
Yeah, and just to add to this, it's really important that you select the right one. So you click on the arrow. So if that's the first one, then if you say, now we're done to the second one, you select the second one and you hit launch poll. And this is when the participant, the attendee on the other side.
Yeah. And another thing, if you want not only the attendees but the panelists to vote too, you need to click here to allow the panelists to vote. So if you need the panelists to vote in the session, then you just have to click on it and you launch poll after. Is that okay for the question? I would consider that a yes.
Yes,
yeah.
sorry, I
Okay.
thought you could see me.
That's good.
Yes, yes.
Don't feel free to ask questions while I go through all of this, because I know that when someone don't use Zoom, it can be like a bit confusing, but don't. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so so I go through the start recording. Okay. So yeah. I think I'm good with Zoom webinar. Do you want to add something?
Genevieve, I think it's going to be important you show as well the Q&A, because some of them will be will have some Q&A. Yes.
Sure. So here the part of the Q&A. So in the Q&A, actually, the only one to have, well, the only one to have access to answer a question is an attendee. So a panelist cannot ask question. So all the question that you will have here is the attendee. But usually you won't have to do really something with it. It's really with the panelists. The panelists will answer the question, and that's pretty much that. But if, for an example, a panelist wants to ask a question, then you will have to click on the option here and put them as an attendee, and after that promote back them as a panelist if you want. So is that clear for the Q&A?
I have a quick question along those lines. So for the keynote speaker, she was curious if there was the capability to raise your hand, or should we instead just tell people if they have a question or want to share anything, they should go right to the Q&A?
We're recommending people to ask their questions in the Q&A, especially depending on the number of participants you'll have in your session.
Yeah.
It will be easier for you as the room host. Yes. And keep in mind that only the Q&A will be visible by you, the co-host, and the panelists. That's it. The attendees cannot see the questions.
Got it.
On the other hand, though, if we have the chat functionality will be seen by the panelists and the attendees as well.
Yeah, but you can, pardon me?
I'm sorry, this is Michelle. I've been in Zoom webinars where the Q&A is visible and people can upvote, so you can even vote that you are interested in hearing, so questions can be voted, so the moderator can even say, like, and the speaker can say, oh, this is a really popular question. So so did you just disable that the Q&A can't be viewed by attendees?
We can do it, and I'll defer that back to Megan, how you guys do this in your session. The only thing is, this is great when you don't have that many people, but when you're having, say, a large pool, and I think some session could have up to at least 400 or 500 people, that might get a little bit chaotic. That's just the reason why we're saying that.
I have a question. I'm doing the vendor showcases. Are they going to be able to see the Q&A? So they're not panelists, but they're going to be putting on their own 15-minute presentations?
So those are going to be in meeting mode. Emily, I don't know if I missed it. Did you just tell everybody that this is webinar mode and some of the sessions are not in webinar mode, they're in meeting mode?
Correct. We're going to do webinar, the meeting mode just in a second. We're finishing the webinar and then we're going to be covering the Zoom meeting mode in a second, Lisa. So you'll see them.
Okay.
So all the keynotes and plenary sessions are in webinar mode. All of the vendor pitches and group networking are in meeting. The breakouts, we left it up to the presenters to decide. So all of you should be receiving an email, if you haven't already, letting you know which mode your session is in. So I've been working on those all morning, and I just haven't had a chance to get all of them done yet. But probably by this afternoon, you'll be getting a notification if you haven't already.
Hi, it's Rebecca. I just have one more question. I know you said that the question pane would be disabled because of the amount of people, but I just want to make the point that I've been on these webinars with up to around like 700 people for our university, and I found it extremely helpful to see what other people were thinking and able to upvote the question. So I don't know if we could reconsider that option, but 9 times out of 10, I mean, I've not saw that be overwhelming, and I think it can actually help the group navigate the conversation. But again, that's my personal opinion.
Like I said, this is a functionality that we can enable. This is really not a problem. I'm going to see with Megan after this meeting what she wants to do. I'm taking notes. Thank you.
But yeah, I agree that this it can be a way to the attendees to participate and have like an interaction. So that can be great for some session if the speakers want to have it.
Genevieve, quick question about the tech check for the keynote and the plenary. Yeah. How far in advance of the session would you recommend we ask?
We ask 15 minutes.
15? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, 15 minutes usually. We'll have enough time to do like a tech check and everything. And if something happened during this 15 minutes, then I will be there to help you out if like we have a big technical problem. But usually 15 minutes will be enough.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I think they would have received in advance, right, Megan, the guide for the speaker, like the best practices?
Yes, they have already received that. They got it about 2 weeks ago.
Yes, good. So they shouldn't come like on a call and not knowing what they should do. So hopefully it's going to make your life easier.
So is that okay if we switch to Zoom meeting?
One more question.
Yeah.
Question about for one of the sessions, speaker was asking if there's the ability to do a whiteboard. I know that's a functionality. I don't know that I saw it as an option among polling and Q&A and all of that. Is there some way to do a whiteboard which would allow people to write their answer on a whiteboard or annotate an answer or put an arrow or something that would keep them kind of engaged through the presentation?
Yes. Whiteboard, you're right, we haven't enabled this functionality as part of this example, but this is something that you would have access to as the co-host or the room presenter. Okay. And this is something that is being given us in terms of each session. The team, Megan and the team is giving us essentially which functionality we need to enable or disable.
Okay, great.
Yeah. In the cheat sheet we're going to be sending you, we're going to make sure that we are going to give you information about the whiteboard, just in case that in your session you have one.
Yeah, can I ask a question on that? So if I'm moderating a session, like the first session on Monday, I'm moderating, so I'm leading it, and I might want to use the whiteboard, but I'm not the host. Will I have the option to share my screen?
Yes, you will do.
Okay. So yeah. It will be share screen allowed by all or just by presenter?
Usually as a co-host, you pretty much have a lot of access. So you will have access to share your screen, and well, I think the only thing you don't have access is to end the webinar. So, but as a co-host, you will have pretty much the same right as the host.
Brilliant.
So just to clarify, because I think you're using slightly different terminology than we are. The room host is going to be the session host, and you're calling them the co-host. The speakers will not have that functionality. The speakers will not be able to do anything on the admin side, correct? Okay, so that's what Sarah was asking about. Yes. That she's going to be a speaker. Correct. She wants to know if she's going to be able to share her screen as a speaker, not as a room host.
Yeah, because as a speaker, I would like to introduce various topics and share my screen or share a slide.
Yes, so correct. You will have this capabilities. If you guys have videos, is that going to be played by the speaker or by the room host, Megan?
Well, the videos that we're showing are in our videos are going to be either in the vendor pitches or the larger rooms, like the keynote rooms. Sarah's talking about a breakout, though.
Perfect. And in your breakout, essentially, you guys will be responsible to share your screen, show your presentation. You can use the whiteboard, that you have all that functionality.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Right, as a speaker.
As a
Yes.
speaker, she can, okay. So
Yeah.
you had told me before there was only the room host that could do that. So now you're confirming that the speakers will be able to have that functionality?
Only if the co-host enables it. That's the little thing. Yes.
So I will just have to ask my host to say, can you enable me? Okay, that's
Correct.
fine. That's fine.
All right.
Okay, cool. I just take a few notes. So is that okay for the Zoom webinar? So I can switch to Zoom meeting? Is it okay for everyone?
Let's get
Yes.
going.
Perfect. Okay, so
while Genevieve is looking for that, like she mentioned, you guys have to arrive 15 minutes in advance. Very important.
Yes.
You will not log in the platform to access the Zoom. That's very important. I know that some of you will probably be participating to the conference, and after Genevieve will be done with showing the Zoom meeting mode, I'll be showing you a screenshot of what what it's going to look like the day of. But what is really important for you guys to remember, you have to use the Zoom link we will be providing you. You cannot enter it from within the platform, otherwise you will be a participant. Okay?
okay. So Zoom meeting is pretty much the same thing as Zoom webinar. But the thing is with Zoom meeting, you're gonna have breakout rooms. So I'll just go through the same thing as I did for the Zoom webinar. So, well, when you click on participant, you will have all the participant here. You can have the option if you want to rename, if they cannot rename themselves, and you have more. So, like I said, that's gonna be me that will handle this part. But if something happened, then you will have access to that too. But there's like, well, less option that the Zoom webinar, but when I just want to show you that when this, well, pretty much all these Zoom meeting will have the waiting room enabled. So when the Zoom meeting is not started, so you do the speaker check, then the attendees will have a message that will say that they are in the waiting room and this meeting will start soon when the host is authorizing it. So in the Zoom meeting, so since we already go through polling and record, so we're gonna go on breakout room. So for the breakout room, when you click on you click on automatically. So you will assign, for example, 2 rooms. You create breakout rooms.
Genevieve, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. 2 seconds. Megan, do you want to tell us in advance, or do you want to tell the room host how many rooms they need to create in advance?
Oh, that will be great.
I don't know if they will know, because it will depend on how many people end up coming to the session. So do
you want to give like maybe a formula? If you have, I don't know, divide by, you want to have 20 people in the breakout room, so they can decide how many they will create?
That's really up to the speaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, maybe the co-host, well, the room host, when they do the speakers check, they can actually ask them if they will need a breakout room. If yes, how many? So they will know in advance that they will need a breakout room.
Yeah, but there's one thing that we don't know, how many people are going to show up really to those events. So that's why. All right, so let's give it that to the speaker to give that information, and they can chat in private with the co-host how many rooms they want to have.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, in the breakout room, then you will assign the participant. So you can rename it if you want, leave the room. So you can recreate the room if you want. You can add one. So if during the session the speakers told you that, oh, I need another one, then you can add another room, and you have the option here. So you can move all the participants in automatically, but usually I think this will be enough. Well, the only thing I see is if these speaker told us that they need like I don't know, a countdown different at 60 seconds, but usually or if the breakout room needs to be closed automatically after, I don't know, 30-15 minutes, then you can add this option here, and if needed, then I think the speakers will tell you that before the meeting.
Megan, for the speakers have told you which one they would wanted to have breakout rooms, correct?
Yes.
In advance? Okay.
Yes.
So this information, it would be important we give that to the room host so that when they are talking and they do their tech check, they can just confirm, all right, we're going to do breakout session at your session and so forth, so on. Just a confirmation.
Yes, that's in the information that I'm sent them this morning.
Perfect. Excellent. The other thing I want to mention, and Genevieve, maybe you're going to cover it, but I really, really want to mention that this is key. We need to make sure that someone in those breakout rooms are going to be recording what's going to happen in the room, because right now the Zooms are enabling the recording at the main session, but there's no functionality to do that in the breakout. So it will have to be someone in that breakout room that will actually record the meeting. And again, that's another thing we're going to be sending you as a separate.
But I have the screenshot. I can show you right now if you want.
Oh yeah, okay, that would be even better.
So
I didn't know you could record what went on in a breakout.
Yeah, neat, huh? Especially if you want to get the nuggets after.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so when you have the breakout room, do you see the screenshot, or it's too small?
We can see it.
It's a bit small.
It's small. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's better?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when you're recording in the breakout room, so when you allow the participant to go in the breakout room, then one participant in the breakout room, you will have to go on more and click on allow record. So this person in the breakout room can start the record. Is that clear for everyone?
Where's that pop-up? Where's it coming from? What's the button underneath? What do we press? Is it called options?
More.
It's more, so if here, so you're gonna see the participant in the breakout room, you're gonna see more, and you will have the option here. So don't forget, when you want to see all the options that you have, like I said too in the Zoom webinar, for putting a panelist on hold or promoting an attendee, it's always on one of the participant. When you highlight it, you just have to click on more, and you have all the you will have all the options scrolling down. So the option will be showing it like that. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So for this part, is that clear for everyone?
Quick follow-up question. So are we enabling allow record on a different participant for each room? And then how will that participant know to go ahead and click record?
But I didn't hear you well, I'm sorry.
Sorry, my laptop. Are we clicking allow record on a different participant for each breakout room? And how will each participant know then to go in? They're going to have to enable record, right? So that would have to be orchestrated in advance.
So the co-host will be the one giving the allow record, but they're going to have to request to record it. So when you guys are going to give the instruction, all right, now it's time to go in a breakout room, please ask for recording the session you're in so we can have that information for further whatever usage. Then you're going to have a request to record, and you will allow that.
Okay. But I guess what I'm not clear on is, like, say Molly goes into breakout room 1, does Molly specifically then need to know to click record in breakout room 1 versus Kevin in breakout room 2 versus someone else in breakout room 3?
Yeah, they have to do this exactly. Yes, they have to know that. right,
So we have
Genevieve?
to designate specific people.
Yes. Are you going to have facilitator? Usually what we see in our other event is the facilitator will be the one in charge of doing that. So would you have facilitator in those rooms?
Those would have to be selected during the session because we don't know in advance who's coming to each session.
Okay.
So typically what we do, what I've seen with our breakouts is we do it right then on the spot and we assign them randomly because that's the quickest thing to do.
Yeah.
So then within each breakout room, somebody would have to designate themselves as facilitator and note taker. That's how we usually do it.
Perfect. So let's give them that instruction and say, as the facilitator, you also have the responsibility to make sure you're recording the breakout session, the breakout room.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So, okay. So, do you have any question for the breakout session?
No.
No. Okay. Perfect. So, well, the breakout session. So you have this, and still you will have the chat in Zoom meeting. So you can actually chat with you can chat with someone. You can chat with to everyone. So if something happened, you can actually write it down. So that's the same thing as the Zoom webinar. I think
was it clear for you guys that you would have to let the people in? So there's a clear distinction between the Zoom webinar where you're broadcasting and now everyone is seeing the panelists versus when you are in the Zoom meeting, and Zoom meeting is where you see all the faces, which is usually all used to. In that case, you have to let participant in. So it's just a different action. But was that clear for everybody?
No, but it is now. Can we? Yeah.
Okay, good.
I have a question going back, adding on to Anne's question about the allow record, because that's a fairly new feature. I'm pretty familiar with Zoom, and I didn't know you could record breakout rooms and then request the allow.
The host.
So if someone doesn't know how to do that, and so if you're noticing that one of the, so we have 5 breakout rooms and one of them or 2 of them have not requested it, even though we've said like, okay, Megan, you're going to be the facilitator, the note taker, you're going to be the one to request it, and you've noticed Megan hasn't done that.
You can go in the room
go in and then just automatically do that without her requesting it?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to avoid that, especially if you have a high level, high number of rooms, but that's a functionality that you can do as the co-host. Yes.
So that was going to tie to a question I had as well. So as co-hosts, we will be able to go into each one of the breakout rooms.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So if they have questions, they have issues, you can go and you'll see, unfortunately we cannot demonstrate it there, but you'll see a pop-up saying this room requests you, and then you click and automatically you're going to be in the room with those people. It's very well done, I have to say. And then you can exit and go to the other ones. All right.
All right. Cool. So
in the participant in the webinar for Zoom meeting, the important point to mention is everybody that's going to join in will be muted automatically. If someone by mistake removes you and now you can hear them, as a co-host, you have the functionality to go and mute them back if that's by mistake. So very important, versus if you are on the webinar mode, you cannot hear a participant unless you allow someone to talk specifically.
Okay. So did you have any more question, or everything seems clear?
I have a question, and it's probably more for Megan. So I've been roped in a bit last minute to help facilitate the European part of the breakout discussions. So as I understand it, there isn't a presentation beforehand. We're just going into breakout sessions first thing. And so I believe, I understand that's being done through Zoom meeting. Will that be correct, Megan?
Yes, all of the sessions are through Zoom, although participants will access it through the platform ShowCare. So
Yeah.
they,
Yes,
you know,
meeting.
it'll open up a Zoom meeting. But yeah, I apologize. I don't think I knew which session you were a host for.
I do, Megan. She's helping us out on July the 1st on, you know, when we split them into 5, the
Oh,
session
yeah,
where
okay.
we get people to choose. Julie's doing the 5th one of those.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there are other facilitators as well then, Sarah, on that one.
Well, yeah, but we're going to be in 5. What's going to happen with that one is we all start off in room, if you can imagine 5 rooms, we all start off in room 1.
Yeah.
And then everyone's going to go. And I think the way we designed it, rather than using breakout rooms, we thought we'd do it in 5 separate rooms. Is that right, Megan? So if say you're looking after alumni engagement, Julie, people said, right, room 5 is going to be alumni engagement. So people go and click into that room, have their conversation, then come out again, and then go into another room. Although I think it might be, yeah. Is that what we decided, Megan, as opposed to breakouts, or are we going to do that one with breakouts?
Maybe we could talk offline, because I want to make sure if anybody else has any questions for ShowCare, they have a chance to do that, and then we can chat. Yeah.
Sure.
So is that, Genevieve, concluded what you wanted to talk about for Zoom, and then you're going to cover Slack?
Yeah.
Okay. Unless, do you guys have any other question about Zoom? We don't see your hand. So if you guys have a question, you can just use the raise your hand.
So quick question, if we do come across some technical difficulty, if we're moderating, say, a breakout or whatever it might be, will there be technical support from you guys available, or are we kind of on our own?
Genevieve is here too, so she's the one that is troubleshooting any technical difficulties front end, and we have a team in the back end supporting us as well. So, but Genevieve will be your go-to.
If you need to escalate something, don't worry, I will be the one to do it.
Yeah, and this is why we want to talk about Slack, because we want to make sure that we can communicate in a separate channel where you have active feedback from us. That's why we don't want to use text or email, because unfortunately not everybody would have that handy. So what we're going to ask you during the day of is to have ideally 2 screens. So the main screen in front of you is the screen where you're facilitating the session, and the second screen will be where the Slack will be open. We're gonna do the rooms in a way that you're not going to be bombarded about things that are not relevant to you, so you're not being distracted. However, we're going to ask you just to pay attention, because this is where we will be giving you important information if something arises. Right, Genevieve, I'll let you continue from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so if everyone is good, so I'm just closing the Zoom meeting, so I will go through Slack. Is that okay? So if everyone is good, I will go with Slack. So you can actually have Slack on your phone or on your computer. I have actually the software, but you can go on the internet. So when you go on Slack, so basically, right now mine is in French, but it's what it's look like. So you have all the channel here. I will create one for the well, I will call it like MD or something like that. I will do need actually the email of the room host, so I will be able to talk with you. So I just want to actually maybe ask a question for all of you. Do you want to have like only one channel so everyone can talk here, or you prefer to have your own channel, so I will have one channel for each of you?
Share, I think.
Pardon me?
A shared one.
From my perspective, I think sharing, because then you can learn from other people's questions.
Okay.
But that's just me. That I'm not sure what
we can do one per day, so you don't have. Are you going to be usually facilitating more than one day?
Some people are,
Yes.
some people aren't.
Okay, so it depends. Genevieve, we can do one per day. I think it's going
Okay.
to reduce maybe the number of volume, but still give them access to the prior days if they want to browse and
Sure. So, well, if someone is doing more than one day, you will have access to both or 3 channel. But I will do three channel for each day. So, if I have like a list with the information for the email to invite you to the to Slack, then that will be great. So when you actually click on one channel, we will have to chat here and that's it. So I will see your name and we can chat and if something happens, we can discuss here and discuss the Zoom meeting on Zoom webinar. Is that okay?
Question.
Yes.
I don't know if it's,
Oh.
yes, go.
So do we need to reference where we are at the time, or are you going to be able to, if we send you a quick note, or do we need to reference where we are at the time?
No, we'll know where you are.
Yeah.
So we have a
Okay.
list of which room host per session. So don't worry. Yeah. If we see Lisa, we know it's vendor pitches. We're good. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless there are 2 names that are identical, but I don't think we saw that case in the in the list. So we're good. And if you guys are not familiar with Slack, it's super simple. You just have to do @ if you want to point somebody specifically, right, Genevieve?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
It's pretty much the same thing when you want to identify someone in a group chat on Messenger. So you do @ and you write my name. So I will have automatically the notification that someone is talking directly to me.
Quick Slack question. So I've not used it before. Do I need to create an account or download it? Yep. Okay.
Actually, go on. Well, I'll show you. So when you go on Slack, so when you go on Slack, you will have the you have the website. So you can actually have all the Slack here. So I will show you. So here we go. So when you launch, so we'll see the launch Slack. So you can connect on Slack with a Google account or well, just your email. So make sure you give me the right email to invite you to the Slack account. So when I click on it, so I can actually see the same thing that I saw on my computer, but it's on the internet. So I will have all the channel here. You can write it down, so you don't have to install the software on your computer. Or if you want, if you're more used to go on your phone, you can download the app on your phone too, if you want.
And I just want to say something. Megan will be providing us those emails. You don't guys have to remember Genevieve's email address and send it to her. Megan will be giving us that information.
So basically, for the account, you just need to when you're gonna receive the invitation on the Slack channel. You will, if you don't have a Slack account, then you will have to create one, and after you're gonna go directly to the group. Is that okay? Is that?
Do we have any?
So everything's good for that?
Yes.
Perfect. So if you guys want, I'd like to take Genevieve 5 minutes, just not even, just to show you a little bit what the platform looks like. Unless you guys have seen the platform yet, have you entered into it? No, I'll take that for no. So I'll show you my screen. Can you see it? Okay. Some of them, just in case you guys haven't seen it, do you guys see my screen? Yes.
We see your name.
Oh, you don't see my screen?
Now we do.
Oh, and I'll stop sharing. All right, let's do that again. you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is essentially the instance. So this is our platform, Showcare's platform, where the event will happen on Tuesday. You have various sections. Right now we have closed the session section because we don't want to confuse anybody yet. But just so you know, the day of, this is what it's going to look like. So you will have essentially on the main page a video where we would be broadcasting live the plenary session, the keynote session, and also the vendor pitches from there. If people want to interact with Zoom, so when we say interact, that means if they want to ask questions, if they want to participate in the polling, if they want to use the chat functionality, they will have to join via either the Zoom app or the browser. But just so you know that it will be possible that some of the audience might not be inside of the room, but will still be seeing the session from the home page. After those sessions are completed, we tell them it's either the break time or them to go in the session section for the breakouts or the group networking sessions. So really, in a nutshell, I think it was important for you guys to really see what it's going to look like the day of. This is why I said, very important, you guys cannot enter the Zoom from these place or from within the course section. You have to use the link we're going to be providing you. All right.
And that link is going to come the day of, or it's going to, when will that link come?
It will come over the weekend.
So just to clarify, the room hosts have to enter through this separate link, but the presenters,
same thing.
They will also have that separate link. Okay.
Correct.
Through the main room, and then the room host had to make them presenter or not?
No, they will have a same thing. So essentially, the only one that won't have the link is the audience, the attendees, essentially.
And if we're a room host or a speaker in different sessions, is it a different link for each one? Okay.
Yes, you'll have one. I want to take maybe the last 5 minutes to talk about the contingency plan. Genevieve, do you want to cover that?
Well, you can do it if you want, or I can do it. So it's up to you.
So the first thing we want you to do is really, you see something wrong, you're not sure, don't hesitate, ping Genevieve in the Slack. That's the number thing we want you to do. Then if something you see that's a real technical issue, for example, the panelists cannot share their screen, if a video doesn't start or whatever, what you do during that case, if you want, you start a conversation with the audience. You can start saying, all right, we're having some, or start a dialogue with the audience. The third thing that we will be providing you, if it's not already the case, you're going to have a one-pager essentially that will show what to broadcast if something goes wrong. So in other words, you will have a PowerPoint that you will have to share your screen and present to the audience that is saying essentially, oops, we're having technical difficulties. Please bear with us. We're going to have a moment. We're fixing it. So Megan will be providing that as well when she's going to be giving you your link and the instruction sheet that we've been talking about. So just important to have that just in case on your desktop so you can easily access it. And same thing, I don't know if you're sharing any PowerPoint or any video, and now I'm maybe more talking to the speakers in the room, but make sure you have that locally, make it very handy so that you can do the transition quickly with the audience.
If you want, I have the I actually save the contingency plan if needed, so I can show you how it looks like, or you already have it.
No, they haven't received yet the instructions.
Okay. So do you want me to show just a slide, or it's okay?
Yeah, show the slide so they see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So we hope we will not have to do that. And again, based on our experience, it's really, really rare, but we always want to be prepared for the worst and then feel comfortable because nothing's happening than the other way around. Contingency plan is there on the right.
Yep. There we go. So that's the slide. So if something happened, then you open the slide and you share your screen. So they will have the image that something happened, and by the time we can talk to see what is going on.
In the presenter mode, right? So we just see the slide.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so we have 2 minutes left. I want to make sure if you guys have any remaining questions that we might not have tackled during this 1 hour session. So don't worry, everything we've been talking about, you have it in writing. So if over the weekend you want to practice, you want to see what the screens are going to look like, you can do that. You have a lot of resources. We've been giving you some links as well, so you can read online on the Zoom account. I know you don't have a Zoom account right now, especially if you're having webinar. But like I said, all right. Genevieve, are we good?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. I hope this was great for you. I hope if you were stressed, you're not less stressed. And again, we are there the day of. So if there's anything, Genevieve and the team will be supporting you, and it's going to be a fabulous event, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm super excited to start it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, evening, depending where you are.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.